Gracie started to have developmental delays at around 6 months old. Our doctor watched it. We started therapies at 9 months old, just some physical therapy. Really hit the therapies at 12 months old with physical therapy and occupational therapy. Making some progress, not a lot. She sat up about 18 months old. Started crawling probably around 2.5. Around 3.5, we saw a developmental delay pediatrician, and within 2 minutes of walking in the room, she told us Gracie had hypotonic cerebral palsy, which at this point we were, I think, completely shocked by that, because up until this point, the doctors had just said, oh, she'll catch up when she catches up, kids just do things in their own time. So that kind of blindsided us, and she said the only treatments were therapies. So I quit my job, and we took her to every single therapy we could possibly get her in. And she wrote us prescriptions for PT, OT, and speech. So we decided to just get into every therapy we could. So we were in physical therapy in the clinic, hippotherapy, aquatic therapy, those are all versions of physical therapy, OT, speech therapy. We actually did a program through U of M with a speech therapy clinic there. And the only ones that were covered by insurance were the physical therapy to an extent, and the occupational therapy. I think speech therapy we paid out of pocket for the college program. 5 days a week special needs preschool, getting some therapies there too. So we just thought, if that's the only thing that's going to help this, that's what we're going to do. But then they're only paid for 60 visits a year. That was all she was given, was a 60 visit limit per year for all of them. So
and we burned through that in February?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, we might have made it into March, but I mean, the 60 visits a year for a 4-year-old who can't walk, they're gone in no time. So after that, it was out of pocket for the rest of the year. In November of 2019, we heard about the Oxford Center. His mom actually heard about it on the radio, and for cerebral palsy specifically, so we thought, let's check it out. Mm-hmm. So we came up here in December of 2019 for our discovery session, and loved it, and just thought, this is something different, and
it was things we'd never seen. When we did our tour and went to the physical therapy department, like I had never seen the universal exercise unit and the suit and all the different bungees and things that we'd never experienced before.
Yeah, we weren't even considering physical therapy because we thought we're doing that at home. Right. But this was just such a different therapy. So we signed up that day to start our intensive therapy program in February of 2020.
Yep.
So we came up here. We were from Toledo, Ohio originally. So there was a lot of things to figure out. We found a house to rent and basically moved up here short term for, I think we planned on 8 weeks at that point.
Yep. 8 weeks.
4 weeks of intensive therapy and 8 weeks of hyperbarics. And we saw so much progress in that trip that we wanted to come back as soon as we could, and got back here in September of 2020 for another round of hyperbarics, another round of intensive physical therapy. Saw some more progress again, that we came back in January of 21, and then again in June of 21. And just each trip was just such a mind-blowing experience in the way they approach therapies and the difference between the therapies here and the traditional therapies, that we just wanted to do more and more. And then in fall of 2021, Gracie started walking independently. So.
Yeah, on our fourth trip up here, she started walking. She took her first steps in the Oxford Center.
Yeah. Stood for the first time. Yeah, a lot of firsts here. So.
I think the thing that was the struggle for us is the therapies being, hyperbaric oxygen therapy and intensive TheraSuit physical therapy, is those were all out of pocket for us. I made a good living to support us, but I would never make enough to support Gracie the way that she needed. And after our first 2 trips, which we had financed through, we spent all our cash and then financed through credit cards, debt, we were out of money, and we didn't know we needed to continue therapy. She had gained so much progress those first 2 trips. And I remember calling Tammy saying, we want to come back, but I just don't have the money. And Tammy said, you need to apply to the Oxford Kids Foundation. And I said, well, we've never been able to apply to any of these things. I made a good living in commercial finance, and she said, that's not the way that the Oxford Kids Foundation works. We consider what you spent you know, and we write grants, you know, based on that, not just how much do you make, well, you get a grant or you don't get a grant.
Yeah, and we've been paying out of pocket for therapies for years, even before the Oxford Kids
Right.
Foundation, or before Oxford, because of the limitations with Gracie's cerebral palsy diagnosis. They gave us 60 visits a year combined of PT, OT, and speech.
Right.
And when you have a 4-year-old who can't walk, those visits are gone in a few months. And we knew we needed to get her walking, and that was our primary goal. Our first time here, they asked us what our goals were on the discovery session, and we wanted Gracie to walk because it would just open up a whole new world for her, and I knew at some point she was going to be too heavy for me to carry. And that was always in the back of my mind, what am I going to do when I can't lift her anymore?
And she loves life. I think
does.
walking is just literally the greatest thing
Yeah.
that's she's ever attained. She walks around like she owns the place, and it's just hilarious and awesome.
Yeah. And now she's trying to run, which
Yes.
is the cutest little jog you'll ever see. So,
For sure.
yeah, it's been a life-changing experience, and that's, I mean, to this day is what I say, you know, to anybody. It changed our lives and Gracie's life, and
Yeah, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for the Oxford Kids
No.
Foundation, I feel.
no, I don't think she would be walking.
No.
So, I mean, our biggest goal was for her to walk, and she walks up a storm. She walks all day long. She wants to go everywhere. She's learning to communicate, so she's still nonverbal, but they found, with a speech therapist here at Oxford, they found the best talker for her. So she is learning to master that and communicate her needs through that, which is awesome. And yeah, I think she's just thriving. I mean, she brings us things that she wants, and she takes us to things and
She grabs your hand and puts it on it.
yeah, makes her needs clearly known, which is not something she was doing before. So that she's learned a lot of alternative ways of communication, which is big for us because up until this point we were just guessing. You know, she would have a meltdown, we would just guess as to why she was melting down. And now I can bring her talker, and she can tell me, I want a snack, I want outside, I want, you know, whatever it may be. Which that's big for her to be able to make her needs known. So our future goals for Gracie, potty training would be huge, and we would love to hear her talk. So I've never heard her say mama, I've dreamed it, but would love to hear her say it.
We'd love to thank the Oxford Kids Foundation for everything they've given us, and Gracie. The difference that they've made in her life and ours is unbelievable.
And we would not have had the opportunity for a 3rd and 4th round of physical therapy and hyperbarics without them. So thank you.